have Ms. Rambert. She can give us an update.
Things are moving right along. We're more than halfway through the recruiting, which is really delightful, and we've started doing some evening meetings, and Dee Gonzalez is doing them as well. And that's all moving along really nicely. We are working on thinking about about some course offerings for next year. Robin and I have been working on that. We'll be talking to CAC about languages next year, language course offerings for next year, and we'll be letting after CAC talks about it. I can only assume that they'll think it's great too. But I don't know. We'll be going to the school district to talk about adding Chinese, Mandarin Chinese as a course option, and Spanish for Spanish speakers. So those are two things that we want to add for next year.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. We've also been talking with the Magnet Math Department about next year as well, and we're anticipating a couple of changes, two in particular. One change would be that 7th grade math, in addition to the 7th grade math classes that we traditionally have, will have a section or two, depending upon student need, that meet every day, so that we can accommodate kids' needs better. And for 8th grade, we will not continue to offer 8th grade math, and instead all students will take algebra if they haven't already had it. And what we will do is we'll have basically three strands. The magnet algebra class that's similar to what 7th graders have. Just an honors algebra class that's more similar to the algebra that's offered in 8th grade at other schools, and an algebra everyday class. And we will make sure that all families know from the start that, by mid-year, they're going to be able to choose whether or not their child takes an algebra credit and grade to high school. But that all kids will stay in the algebra class for the whole year.
Really?
Because it's way better for them than taking than 8th grade math. Because in algebra they're going to learn those skills, the 8th grade math skills, plus they're going to learn some algebra, even if they end up taking it as Math 8, honors Math 8. They'll have had the algebra content. They'll be in much better shape when they go into high school.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So those are, a couple of the big pieces that we're looking at for next year.
So I have a question. Right now, if you take algebra in 7th grade, there's an option to drop it so you don't get a grade if they're not doing as well. Will that option,
that would still continue.
okay,
They
so you wouldn't be
able to
allowed,
stay in the
you wouldn't be
algebra, or they
able
would
to
have
stay in
do
the
the
algebra?
7th grade math?
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. Good point. I don't know. I
Because I think before some people had asked if they could stay in the algebra class, but they were told they had to move to the math. If they were dropping the
I
credit.
need to talk with the math department about that. It needs to be very soon because the time is coming up, and we'll talk about that.
I had understood in the past that the everyday algebra and the topics algebra were the same content. It was just that one was every day and one was every other day. How is that going to work with the 3 strands?
The everyday will be an honors. Whether it's topics algebra or honors algebra, the kids get the same thing. It actually goes into their transcript as the same class. It doesn't matter.
I'm just talking about what
Yeah,
they're
the
learning.
content.
What's the difference between the honors and the topics
I think that
versus the everyday?
yeah. We probably should have a math teacher here to answer that. But as I understand it, the topics class is way the kids go into more in there than they do in an honors algebra class. And I can't tell you which topics they cover that they don't in honors algebra, because it's all Greek to me, it's all algebra to me, you know. But there is some difference. However, certainly the kids will be as, regardless of which class they take, when they go into high school, they're going to be as well prepared for the geometry and algebra 2 as, you know, whichever class they do. Yeah.
I'm the mom of a sixth grader.
Speak
so-
up a little bit louder.
I'm sorry, I'm the mom of a sixth grader and don't know any of this stuff yet. So when we get the time to be looking at seventh grade math and eighth grade math, do the math teachers talk about it with the students? How is that communicated
Yes,
with
and
the
they will
parents?
recommend to the parents which class the student should be in.
Great.
And we will also have a KMag meeting at that same time. I think we scheduled it for May or April, whenever that decision happens, where the math teachers will come in and be able to answer your questions. Because just because your child gets in doesn't necessarily mean that you want to go
right.
there, but at least you can talk to the teacher about that and ask some questions.
Terrific, thank you.
I just have a question about terminology. What is topics? What's the topics class?
Our topics class, yeah, terminology is a problem. It's a class that was developed here at Keeling, and it is pegged at a higher level.
So is that like what Ms. Hill was teaching?
Yes.
The seventh graders? were
Yes.
taking out? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I have another question, but it actually kind of came from it actually started with AP calculus, because they have AB calculus, and then they have calculus with topics for AP, and that's where, and then it kind of filtered down, so it's kind of like topic, and why that word, but that's how it started. Anyway, my question is, how many sections are there right now of everyday algebra, do you know?
I think 4.
Okay, I'm just curious.
That's as I recall,
Thank you.
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I know you're gonna go over this in April or May, but so you can go to algebra every day? instead of
In
any-
8th grade.
Is that if you need extra help or is that more advanced?
No, it's for kids who need to take it a little bit more slowly and also may not have as good a study skills and need more time in class to be working on their work.
Terrific.
Yeah,
And I may have missed it, is that option not available for seventh grade?
that's correct.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't take it, because you're 17, you have.
The 7th grade is the topics.
Yes.
All right.
I do feel like, I'm sorry, I do feel like there are kids, who are kind of ready for algebra, I mean, and maybe that should just be seventh grade math.
Right,
but it
because
does
what's
seem
the
like-
hurry? 8th grade it's already accelerated to take it in 8th grade. There's no reason to hurry.
Right, no, I totally, it's because kids have it in their mind that I want to impress my friends and relatives and take it now.
Well,
And, I mean, I know that's a personal issue, but I think a lot of kids sign up for it, I'm speaking from personal experience, not necessarily being ready for it because they just
Yeah.
wanna say they did it.
I'm also a sixth grade parent, so I'm confused, but I think you said there's honors algebra, there's algebra topics, which is a little bit more advanced, and then there's magnet algebra?
no, magnet topics, I was using.
Magnet and topics
yeah,
is the same.
I was using them as the same.
So what's the third thing?
Every day.
Oh, everyday algebra. Okay.
And this is 8th grade.
Yeah.
It was this way before, it's just
Do we
recently
change
that they
sometimes?
offered
Yeah.
it straight back in that.
Yeah,
State geometry
right,
in high school.
right.
There were some emails from him earlier about take
Not
geometry
the
in
right
7th grade,
decision.
so I'll have to ask.
Do that.
Where does geometry fit into this?
7th graders who complete algebra take geometry here in
geometry.
8th grade.
Okay.
8th graders who
Okay.
complete algebra will take geometry in 9th grade.
And there are a very few number of kids who take algebra in 6th grade, correct?
Very few.
Very few.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not in that category.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's also kids who take algebra 2 and geometry in 8th grade.
And those parents are insane. Okay.
Yeah.
Very few.
Very few.
Yeah, again, maybe
Okay.
a dozen.
Right, but
yeah.
this is a magnet program and we have children on all different levels, so.
Some are interested in doing it.
Really wanna do
Okay,
that.
so you
Yep.
just finished algebra.
Um,
That sounds like skip the
I'm
algebra.
gonna take, before we get into our main discussion, this is the smallest group we've had real quick, and I just wanna go through it, and if you all could just go through and just say your name and where your child, you know, what grade your child is, and maybe what area of town you come from, that way maybe we can get to know each other a little bit more. This has been the the first time. We can go through the top here and then go to the, my name's Anne Marie Reed, I have an 8th grader, and then I have a 5th grader that's at Oak Hill Elementary right now.
And Ken Havernack, I'm the co-treasurer, or one of the co-treasurers, and I have an 8th grade daughter and 6th grade daughter that live down in Circle C.
I'm Amy Moore, and I have a 7th grade daughter, and then I have a 10th grade daughter in McAllen.
And you live?
I
which
live over by McAllen.
I'm Julie Pastor. I have current 7th grader. I have 2 Keeling graduates, and we live Central West.
Sandra Marks, I have a 7th grade son and a 10th grade daughter at Lhasa, and we live northeast.
Melissa Myers, I have twin 6th graders. We are from Circle C.
I'm Jenny Floyd from, I have a 6th grade daughter and 1st graders at Oak Hill. And while I have the floor, I'm also going to be leading the book group afterwards if anyone wants to stay for that. And we're talking about perfectionism, and even if you didn't read the book, that might be an interesting topic. So hang around if you want to.
Cool. I'm Gina Vance. I have a 6th grade daughter, and I got 2 more in elementary school. And at any rate, we're from Oak Hill area.
Gita Suggs, I have a 6th grade son who's homesick today, and a 2nd grade son at Oak Hill.
I'm Yolanda Torres, I have a 7th grade daughter, we live in Meridian. We can walk to Hays County, so she was involved in it.
My name is No Chan Peng, and I have a 6th grade here, and I have a 3rd grade in elementary school, and I live in Southeast.
I'm Eliana Abinader. I have a 6th grader here, and I also have a 3rd grader at Becker Elementary, and we live in Travis Country neighborhood, and I'm super excited to hear about Spanish or Spanish speaking.
I'm Renee Otkin, and I work on the shadowing for KMag, and I have an 8th grade daughter here and a 6th grade son at Murkinson, and I live far northwest.
I'm Amy Kulik, and I have a 6th grade son here, and I live in the same neighborhood as Renee. And we're super excited about Chinese because that was my son, if you went to Murchison, was going to take Chinese for sure, and he was kind of bummed that it wasn't available here. So.
Becky Swan, my husband Phil and I have 6th grader Carl here, and then a 3rd grade daughter at Cassis. So we're kind of central, a little bit west.
My name is Laura DiCarlo. I have a 8th grader here. I have a 10th grader at Lhasa, and I have a 5th grader at Golat Elementary who wants to come here next year. And I live in Allendale, which is north of Manhattan.
I'm Kristen Nifton. I have 2 daughters in 6th and 8th grade here, and we also live in Allendale, tantalizingly close to Lamar Middle School.
I'm Susan Lowe. I have a 6th grader boy here. I have a 4th grader girl in Highland Park. Super excited about the Chinese. I live east side.
My name is Ann Heinen. I have a junior in college, a senior at Lhasa, and a 7th grader here, and both my older kids went to Keeling as well.
Well, thank you all very, very much. So we're from all over. So we're going to go into the Keeling Magnet budget. This came up as a discussion this summer item as when we were trying to come up with topic ideas, because I don't know that a lot of us really understand how it all works. And so I thought we could have Ms. Ramberg kind of give us an overview and so we can get that, because this is a super special program and we just need to understand how that works so we can make sure it keeps going.
Well, first of all, this school, gets a budget from the school district. And the budget is based on number of students. And so there's this general school budget. And the general school budget, not extravagant at all, covers just the kind of stuff that it's got to cover. It covers paper and basic school supplies, as well as the extra duty kind of pay that keeps the school going. In addition to that, though, We also get money that comes through the money that the school district gets from the state for gifted and talented. And I am not certain, it is assigned on a per pupil basis, but I don't know how much per pupil. I don't know the actual figure, because the amount has varied some over the years, but partially that depends on carryover from the previous year. And so I haven't exactly got my bearings on that. Basically, we've had about the same amount each year, between $50,000 and $55,000. And that money has been designated magnet money, and traditionally at this school, not necessarily the case at Fulmore, but at this school, the magnet director has been in charge of that money and has budgeted that money. And what it covers is, I really went through the budget carefully yesterday. I had certainly looked at it before, but I've never been, we've got all this money, what are we gonna do with it? Because a lot of it is spoken for. The biggest areas are general supplies, things that are not covered by the school general supplies, and that includes paper, because we use more paper, stamps, envelopes, printing, whether it's printing the application or printing the writing, Keeling writing manual. So, and the money just goes with that. And that's about $10,000. We spend annually around $10,000 on the whole recruitment application piece, from paying extra duty pay for doing a lot of this stuff, including the recruitment, the testing. It's just a whole piece that takes time and takes people to do it. We generally spend about $8,000 on summer curriculum work, which is an opportunity for teachers to work together to revamp some curriculum.
And to step in real quickly, we have a different curriculum than any other
Exactly.
of the schools, and so whereas most of the schools are given their curriculum, the magnet program is expected to develop their own, and so that goes to
Right.
help the teachers every year, and it's not a whole lot, but
Right.
enough to give them some time so that they can update, and is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, and if there's a new elective or a new person teaching an elective, it would also cover that. New student orientation costs about $3,500 between, paying teachers, getting some food, and this is the 7th and 8th grade orientation as well as the 6th grade orientation. Summer reading camps cost a couple $1,000s. We pay the person or people who supervise Think Tank, and we're paying them from the magnet budget, because I don't think it ought to come from KMag, because it's basically babysitting. Which is not to say that it's not important. It's really important that we have it, because we want to encourage kids to go to office hours and to go to clubs, and they have to have something to do afterwards. So we pay for 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the think tank supervision, and that comes to about $7,000 a year.
And for those of you who may not know what Think Tank is, that's what's available in the cafeteria after office hours and before the late bus comes. So if a child needs to go to after-school office hours, they can still get a bus ride home, but we needed to cover that time period in between.
We pay we help defray the cost of ink blot. The kids do a lot of fundraising for it, but ink blot is very expensive. And so, we pay for that. So basically, that's about $44,000 in things that I mentioned. Oh, Inkblot, it ends up being close to $3,000.
The literary magazine.
I'm sorry, Inkblot
I
Literary
didn't know what it is, so I
Magazine,
couldn't step in
which
on
is
that one.
gorgeous.
It's
And
an
the
elective class they do
superintendent.
in the spring, and the students do every bit of it. Chemical story, design, everything that goes in it, and they recruit from other students' submissions, and they put it all together.
And every year they win awards.
Yeah, and the
all sorts of-
superintendent, I don't know if you saw the superintendent's blog a couple weeks ago, and led with, she received a copy of Inkblot and how wonderful it was.
Which KMag usually purchases copies of Inkblot to send to all the AISD board members and certain high-ranking administrators as PR for the magnet program. So.
How cool they
Good,
are.
Because
good
it's
plan.
gorgeous, and it's all kid done, under the guidance of Ms. Wagner. So, the total of those things that I talked about comes to about $43,000. And, that leaves somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 left in the budget to cover, we need workbooks for a foreign language, or these rooms need whiteboard, or we ran out of the projector bulbs for the data projectors, or my old printer finally died, I need a new printer, or we need toner. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I included that in general supplies. Part of general supplies is, we pay $1,500 a year for the copier machine. This money in the past has also paid for, last year's budget, the 2012-13, I know paid some money for two things, student planners, and so I assume that if the school does that again, that'll come out of, a piece of it will come out of the magnet budget. And also, last year, the magnet budget paid for a large portion of the website, the new website that was developed. We also do pay, I can't remember how much it is, it's not exorbitant, for the hosting of the Firsthand History website. And if you haven't looked at Firsthand History, it's a gorgeous website. Firsthand History is a project of the 7th grade English classes. They do this whole sequence. Right now I love it because it's a big piece. Right now they're starting with reading some Studs Terkel and doing monologues from Studs Terkel. And where it leads eventually in the spring is to doing an oral history. And then the kids create podcasts, they do the transcription, and there's this wonderful website called Firsthand History. And they try to focus on social justice topics. It's a beautiful website. And the kids have done wonderful work. So anyway, so that's the magnet budget, and that's where it goes. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I was on CAC a couple of years ago. I haven't been on since, but something that was talked about there was that the Title I money that Keeling gets is sort of, that's for the neighbor, and obviously it can cover things that have to do with whole school, but that's kind of the money that that side of the school gets, and that there's the magnet money it's because I think there has been a perception that, hey, wait, that's unfair that Magnet is getting this extra money, which of course, some of it covers whole school stuff. But I know that Title I funding has gone down every year, but that is something that sort of, it's kind of seen as that there's two sides to that, right?
Right. Well, and some of the magnet money covers functions that other schools and programs don't have. They don't recruit, for instance. Yeah.
I'm curious about the budget coming for GT students, because I'm guessing that not every student is identified as GT, primarily because elementary schools don't necessarily push for that identification, and it's not required to come here. So are they getting GT money regardless of whether they're designated as GT?
All I know is the school district gives us money. And it's my understanding that that's part of the pot from which it comes.
Right, I think it's an understanding, right, that all the kids here, I think it's the same allotment as gifted, but I do believe all the
I think
children
it's
get that
from
allotment.
advanced academic services, that
Right.
division,
Right.
which includes GT, but this is
But
clearly an
includes-
advanced academic program,
Right.
so I think it
So
funnels
it
I
comes
think
from
through
the
that department.
that's
AISD gifted money.
Yeah.
So, as far, like, where does the transportation money come from?
That's a
That's
district-wide
not-
function.
doesn't come to the school
Does not come to
specifically.
the school.
And then for teachers, is that a key, because, so it seems like here, say, for example, an English teacher might teach 1 or 2 sections of English and then some electives as well.
Generally 4 or 5 sections of English
Four,
and then
okay.
an elective, yeah.
Whereas in other campuses, correct me if I'm wrong, an English teacher might teach just English.
Might.
So we clearly have more teachers.
There is that, there is I don't know the right word. The school does get more staff allocation.
It's like a 1.2 or 1.3.
2.
1.2 per student as opposed to 1.0.
And that's because
But
of
that's,
the-
my understanding here is that that's applied to the whole school.
It is.
It's not, it's a magnet allocation, but the teachers are spread out throughout the whole school. That additional amount of teacher that's given is spread out amongst the whole school.
Correct.
Not just magnet.
So this might be a question that's outside the scope of this discussion, but I'm just wondering, like, what is AISD doing for advanced academics on other campuses?
You'd have to ask those other campuses in AISD.
I think that's
I
the
can
gifted
talk
money
about
that they get. That, you know, it's for the gifted kids who are, I would guess that they get that
Except that
amount of
most
allocation.
schools don't have gifted programs. They say pre-AP, but
Well,
that legally can't
I don't know.
suffice as
I know small does, but I don't know the others.
Supposed to somehow address.
but they don't.
Yeah, but there's.
That's a whole nother.
That's a-
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
The way they address in the elementary level, it's usually, they don't do it in pull-out, they do, in AISD, they do, clustering in individual classrooms, and that's how they do it, and they say that they'll address those individual needs that way, and in middle school, it's, through the pre-AP coursework, and, it's, I mean, yeah, I mean, really not, I think it's the right way to do it or not.
Or
or
it's
if
legally
ad-
not the right way.
If it's adequate, then that's another issue, but, I mean.
So, Ms. Remember, and I didn't really, you know, I mean, as much as I know, I really didn't understand fully. So, as far as funds for electives, what's that makes, I think that's the reason a lot of students want to come here. So you have no money really for that.
Nothing specific.
I mean, it would have to come out of this $7,000 for incidentals that I'm sure you spend, that you really need for incidentals.
That's why we have
That's why we
KMag.
have KMag.
So,
That's
well,
why
I mean, I
KMag
guess,
has stepped in.
I never really understood
Yeah.
the full scope of that, that there really was not, you know.
So
Which
for
is
all
kinda
the
what we've
extra
always
supplies,
said in the
yeah.
fundraising for KMag is that there is no allotment for these wonderful electives, and they require a lot of consumable supplies and teacher time, and that's really,
I didn't realize
it's one
that
of the
either.
huge draws here, and I think that's what a lot of KMag money is used for.
Yeah, at
And-
one point there was, I know there, the block scheduling here was tweaked so that the teachers are actually taking on an extra class period, more than what they would take at, what they would be teaching at a conventional middle school. And so I don't know how that compares, I think did they push all the AISD middle schools to block scheduling?
No, they're not all block scheduling. You're right, in most traditional schools, you know, traditional scheduling, their teachers teach 5 out of 7. And here, with the block schedule, they teach 6 out of 8. There are a lot of schools, though, that do the block schedule.
They didn't want to teach that many, it's another story.
But that's, you're right, that's a way that, you know, teachers teach more classes.
And some of the budget cuts from the district level actually took away a planning period, so there are some teachers teaching 7 out of 8.
They're compensated for that.
Yeah.
They
But at
are,
other schools too, I think
Yeah.
that was a budget cut at the district level. To not allow all teachers to have 2 planning periods.
My question is, how do you pay for the clubs after school?
pay for what?
The clubs.
Clubs. We don't. And this is another thing that I think is really important to know. Teachers volunteer an enormous amount of time. The teachers who sponsor clubs are not paid, not for anything. Yeah.
My son just went on the Parks and Rec field trip this last weekend. They were gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The teachers don't get extra pay for that. It was all teachers who were chaperones. So 5 days with like 40 7th and 8th graders.
And additional teachers, not just the Parks
Yeah,
and Rec teacher. other teachers all volunteering.
Right, but teachers are not compensated. The Science Olympiad coaches aren't paid for their time. Quiz Bowl is, Patty Hill isn't paid extra for her time. Chess club, DI, we're getting ready to start DI again, not paid for time. The bike club isn't paid, the teachers volunteer their time.
Which again, I think
They're
is an
very
area
generous, and that's one reason, I think, why it's so important that, in addition to volunteering their time, we are not asking them to volunteer to buy chicken wings and,
Right.
and fetal pigs or whatever.
Right. Well, and it's another area that I think that KMag funding has helped to pay for teacher sponsors to travel when they win and go to national competitions and things. I don't think that teachers should have to pay out of their pocket because they provide this opportunity for our kids to do these kinds of things. And PTA can't pay for travel, so there are there's other reasons why you have to have another area to use that money in that way.
So yeah, a portion of KMag's funds go to support teachers who go on to national to help them with their, not the students, but the
Not the
teachers,
students,
to help with their transportation to get there.
Well, let me just clarify about PTA, and you can correct me. PTA doesn't pay for travel, but we can gift money to the school.
But that's for buses, but we can't pay for a teacher.
We can't pay for like a teacher's hotel and.
Okay.
But PTA has been doing so well with funding because of Keeling Center Stage the last 2 years that we've been able to provide a lot more to $16,000 we have this year for teachers, for grants, for everything from field trips to equipment to different things, and that's for all teachers here.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it's been a really nice thing.
Do you have any more questions about the budget?
I just have one quick clarification. I don't want to beat the the GT thing to death, but earlier this year, you were talking about if we wanted to have our children designated GT, and the general feeling was, yeah, don't bother, you're here. But now when you mention this, they're getting funding, and you kind of had it as a label of GT funding. We're not hurting the school by not labeling our children this way, right? We're not. Great. That's just want to make sure of that.
If it comes to that, we will get everybody.
Everybody on it. There we go.
Yeah, because it sounded like somebody said that.
I will say
Christina
at
said
LASA
something like that, like
they-
you get funding per head for
Right.
GT. Maybe at other schools, maybe not here, I don't know, but.
Well, I know that at LASA that they do, every child that comes in who has not been previously identified, they do test. Doesn't mean every child qualifies, but they do because of, they want to have the
They want that
numbers to
money.
show, and
Sure
they
it
also
is, but
have
it's just from
options
there,
to
not
apply
here.
for certain grants, that you have to have certain
here.
levels and percentages of GT identified
I don't
kids.
think
So
they do.
I do know that that is a big push at LASA.
Well, we should put that on the agenda for the new director. to
That's right.
consider.
Well, and too, I was talking with Mrs. Lowe, and I may have misunderstood, but I thought what I heard her say was that, because I was reading on the AISD budget report, and it shows the percentages of students in different school districts that are identified as GT, and Houston has way more identified than Austin, but she was saying that in Houston, the schools get to spend that money, whereas in Austin, it just goes to the district.
Right. Well, as we all
there's
know,
less
many of our elementary
incentive.
schools actively discourage you from.
There's more paperwork.
Right, they just don't want to do it, and they tell you straight up, they're not going to do anything about it, even if they get labeled anyway.
Right.
So I think
No,
that
it
the
depends.
district, The
Depends on the
difference,
school.
yeah.
Our school,
Many,
there's
many-
very wide discrepancies.
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
schools do that. So,
But
so I
yeah,
think a lot of
I've-
kids come
I've seen
here
that.
who do not, are not labeled.
Right.
Could have been, but, you know.
But that could be something to advocate for, is more campus control over that money. I mean,
It's a good
I
thing
don't
for
know.
AAMA, I think. Yeah.
Well, or not. It's a good thing for other schools.
Yeah, for GT, yeah,
For-
it's not a magnet issue.
It's not a
really.
magnet issue.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah,
Right, right.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is, do we get the money regardless of if we are
Yes.
labeled or not here?
Yes.
So if we have 100 kids in the magnet program, we get 100 kids worth of,
Yes.
You know, I think.
so it doesn't matter here.
It's
Right.
like,
That's
it's,
what I
it's
was
like,
thinking.
it's a curriculum-based, link, I believe, it's like, this is a GT curriculum, and therefore, it's like, this advanced academic funding goes into it versus, oh, you've got, 600 of your 800 kids are identified or not, and that's my understanding. So
Yeah,
if you have
and I-
GT kid, here we have the GT curriculum for you,
Yeah.
but it's not like you have to be identified.
And I think that Sandra probably, made that most clear, and for me, using the term GT money was probably an error. It's advanced academics. The school district does not have a GT department. It has an advanced academics department.
And one part of that is GT
Yes.
identification and labeling.
But
and
it-
other.
Right, they do other things as well.
I don't know if you already have all your schedule for the year figured out, but it would be kind of interesting maybe to have, as long as I've been at Keeling, I've never seen a presentation by somebody who's from that department. It might be interesting to have a visitor sometime come and talk to us. I know I get the emails about the things that are happening in the district for, that they have these advanced academic magnet programs, where you can go and, you guys get these emails, right?
They
You
have
know,
little
the-
talks throughout
Yeah,
the year
talks and
too,
things
you
like
can
that,
go
yeah.
to.
But I don't go to those things, it doesn't work in my schedule, so it might be interesting just to hear from somebody from their department that can answer all of these questions with assurance.
We've got a week in February, I can get the name of who that is and just see if they would be willing to come and talk to us. That's a great idea, Laura, thank you. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions?
What
Thank
about
you,
a
this was.
non-budgeting question?
What's that? I know.
A non-budget question.
A non-budget
Yeah,
question.
I just, you were bringing up curriculum earlier, and it made me think of some things I've been wondering about, which is, we have our own curriculum here. Do different teachers in the same, like, let's say, 6th grade world cultures, does one teacher maybe have a varying curriculum from another teacher in 6th grade world cultures?
No, they work together.
Okay, because I do know from just personal experience that even though they'll be getting tested on the same, or they're covering the same material, like one teacher will cover this much, will say this much material is covered on the test, and another teacher will say this much material is covered on this same test.
Well, I'll be
So is that-
interested in getting more information about it. Because, certainly what we strive to do is that all kids in a content area at the grade level have the same opportunities.
Okay, so that, I know that definitely happened, because I was overwhelmed by how much my son had to study for a particular quiz. And his friend that had a different teacher, it was on a 3-page thing, and he had like 6 times that amount of material for the same quiz. But different teachers.
I think I
6th
can
grade
speak to
world
that.
cultures?
I have
Yeah.
twin 6th graders, and they have all different teachers except for language arts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And while it is different, they all get to the same spot. So you can rest assured, like, they all catch up. So one will have to study X for this day, and then the other one makes it up a whole week later or something. So it all, like, it is all the same. Like, they're in 2 different. I
Oh,
have
I'm not
twins-
saying that they didn't have the material, I'm saying what they got quizzed on was.
But it'll catch up later. Like, then the other one gets tested on it later. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So sometimes what happens is you can see that kids are in different sections, is that if one kid gets it's because of the AB schedule, it might be that, oh, did you do this and this? Oh, no, I haven't done it. So, and even if it's over a weekend, that kid is not gonna be seeing something till
Oh, sure,
Monday.
I know
So
that, but
there's all that.
a quiz was covering material they've been learning for the 6 weeks. So it's not like, oh, that was just because the way the AB fell. But, and then my other question was, the percentages that something is worth, like it became clear, like I was told for a particular large project that for us, it was worth 50%, but for my son's friend, it was only worth 20%. And is that also a leeway thing?
I need to look at
So if you look in grade speed, you can see.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm saying.
No, but I mean, like.
It's 50% for my sons.
It says that for.
And 20% for
Okay.
his friends.
Like the section that the teacher chose to put it under is worth that much as a
Right.
portion of the grade, right?
And I was just surprised by it, I'm not really complaining about it, I didn't know if that's standard, like the teachers just decide, or if not.
Were those two different classes, the two examples you gave?
It's sixth grade science.
One was a quiz, but the quiz, was that in science also, or was that
Oh, no,
in?
the quiz was social work culture.
We can look into that. I think they're all supposed to be the same, and so there's probably some disparity, but I guess, as Melissa says, and being a twin, I know how important that is, right? Because if my brother had less homework than me, you'd hear that.
Unfortunately, I'm on grade speed a lot, so I see like the percentages and what you're talking about, and I would say that generally they're the same. And I don't know, you could be like the third teacher that we don't have, but
But
for
where
my
a teacher
two.
chooses to put something,
Yeah.
like you may have the same breakdowns of grade, but maybe this one says it's gonna be a major grade, and this one
Yeah.
says it's gonna be a
Ours-
fifth grade,
Ours
yeah.
hasn't been like that,
Yeah.
like
But
that.
there might be also some styles of like extra credit that
Right.
changes, and so that might be one other opportunity that they use. But in general, I guess it's the first time that I hear that they're given for like a project that somebody's given 25%.
Yeah, it was surprising. I mean, I was glad for us, it was a high amount, because it was a lot of work. You know, I was glad that it got, that it matched the work that they put in. But another parent was like, I can't believe you put in all this work, and it was only worth 20%. So.
All right, so do we have any more questions? All right, thank you very much. This was really eye-opening. I actually didn't know this. You realize that we have extra costs, but you don't realize what that actually means, so thank you very much. We're gonna go into our approval of minutes, because we had the high school options that went late last time. We didn't get a chance to go through any of our business. So we have both the minutes from October 10th and October 24th meeting. Melissa has handed them out. Thank you so much for doing that, Melissa. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you all have gotten a chance to look through them in the time we've been sitting here. If you have any questions or comments. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Gita Suggs, approaches. Renee Atkins seconds that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I need to do that separately? I'm looking at Julie and Sandra for each one. No, we're good? Okay, so we're gonna go straight into the committee reports. Is Michelle here? Oh, go ahead.
Do mine real quick?
Yeah, of course you
I
can.
gotta take off.
No, of course.
Shadowing, we have no shadow request yet. Which is a good thing, but I suspect by the end of this month, we'll start seeing.
Are there applications already in?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Fifth grader, oh,
So
yeah.
probably by November, the end of November.
But the big hit comes
So
out
I'll have a
around
bigger
Christmas.
report next year, I mean, next month.
Is there anything else for shadowing?
Nope.
All right, keep that in the back of your mind though, because Renee's going to be hitting up. That's a huge, as you see, there is some money in there, but the majority of labor comes from KMag. And just real briefly to touch on that really is what KMag is for, is because there is only a limited amount of money. It clearly doesn't cover all the expenses. It clearly doesn't cover all the labor, which is why we have parents that step up to help some of these things that are unique about the school. And so
Shadowing in particular, I think is really valuable for the kids to come and spend the day. I think by the end of that day, they know if they want to be here or not. And I'm really sad that McCowan's not doing it anymore. And it only happens here because of the parents.
It could not happen without parents.
It would not
And Renee.
Well, just Renee's brought it to a whole new
level.
550, I think,
565.
went through
in
last
24
year.
days.
yeah, that's crazy.
So,
And she didn't lose any of them. All right, does anyone have any questions for Renee? All right, thank you so much, and really for all that you do. Is Michelle here? I think I see her. Fundraising, as we talked about, this really is, we have fundraising letters here. We're still We haven't hit our goal yet, so we're still working towards that. If you haven't donated and after hearing this would like to donate, there's a letter right here, or if you just forgot, and you can give us an update.
I'll give you an update.
On the treasurer's report. Jenny is here, book club, and I apologize, I didn't put that in my notes, and I apologize, I missed that. That you're doing permissions after,
What?
right after this?
What?
You're doing permissions, a book after this?
We're doing a book after
Yes.
this. Yes.
So
No, I kept
you wanna
meaning
give
to
an
tell
update?
you to put it on the website, and I kept thinking I should ask Ida, but then I'm like, oh God, it's not fair anymore.
Wrong
And then-
school. I ask you to kill you. Do you have an update?
Huh?
About the book club?
Well,
Do you
that
have
was
an
it.
update? Kaki Jewett and Rachel Drog, are they either one of them here? I don't think so.
I gotta talk to them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is coming up really soon. The Choice Fair is the 7th. Is that a Saturday?
Yes.
December 7th?
I
Yes.
can say that they've sent out email asking for volunteers.
And they
Good.
met on, I know they met on Saturday. I was unable
Oh.
to go because I was at Worst Fest.
Super.
But they did meet, and so they've got a whole list of updates, and they're working on stuff, and if they,
I'd love to talk to them.
okay,
So-
I'll
That's
get
all
you
I
in
know.
contact with them.
Okay, good, thank you.
And then we have the Keeling Magnet Showcase, which
Which is
comes up
coming up.
just as quickly.
Right.
Those are two other things where parents are crucial
Yeah.
to help. If you remember when you were looking at schools, the parents that were there to talk to you, and it's really
And
crucial.
having some Spanish-speaking parents, by the way,
Oh,
is really
Iriana.
critical as well.
Do you speak Spanish? Or is it just your kids?
Did you say December 7th, that one, is that here at Keeling?
No, it's
Fulmore.
going to be in
Fulmore.
Fulmore this year.
And that's where you can go and you can talk about see all the schools, and then the Keeling Magnet Showcase is January 9th, and that's when we come here. One of the things I'd like to do this year, Sandra and I started that last year, is to try and invite some of the school board members and some of the others. So when you come and you see that showcase,
We had a pretty good turnout last
We
year.
did.
We had
We-
quite a few, we had some board members and administrators show up
It really
for the showcase, and so that, I think, is very valuable.
brings home how
Yeah.
amazing this program is, because it really is, and I don't think you realize that until you see the kids. I mean, the teachers are amazing, and then you see what the kids, how excited they are, and that's just super cool. Julie, do you have an update for the Magnet Offer and teacher support?
I do. We need a couple of volunteers, either December 9th or 10th, to work in the office with Julie Carolyn for about 1 or 2 hours. So I'll send out an email on that. If you know you can do it, just come see me in a couple minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's getting, and I can tell you what it's for, it's to get out the flyers to the 5th grade, to the counselors at each of the elementary schools, to get to the 5th grade teachers, to go home for kids about the showcase.
And thank you for doing that. You have a list of names, is that right?
I do have a
Okay,
list of
good.
things that I'll
But
send
if
out
you
to
did not ever sign up and would like, it's just as needed basis. She can email you out and you can say yay or nay, but if you haven't put your name on the list, talk to Julie, because it's really helpful.
Question about recruiting, do you ever have parents join you at elementary schools?
No, and I'll tell you why not. Because we have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We do this little road show, and, we, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 20 minutes for Keeling, 20 minutes for Fulmore, 20 minutes for
Ann Richards.
Ann Richards. And there just isn't time. We do, if schools want more and want to have an evening program, we are happy to come to that, and it's generally more informal in terms of not 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. In fact, we were at Wooten on Tuesday night. We asked the schools to invite other schools in their area so that
I
it
wonder
can
if that
be a
would be a
bigger
good
thing.
opportunity for you to share with people that you're doing the evening ones, and so that if there were other parents who could be there to answer questions, is that something that would be
That's a
helpful
good
or
idea,
not?
yeah. Yeah, I think we're doing one at Travis. I think there's one scheduled actually for Belichick next Tuesday. That, I didn't know about that, they did through the family support specialist, yes.
I was just gonna mention that it's also possible at our GOAT, we started a couple years ago, just having an informal parent night, like what KMag did, where we just got parents to come talk to parents about.
That's a good idea.
Is it true about the homework, or is it true, and just, that's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Parents
All
that
right,
are-
our last one is new parent reception, new student registration. I'm really looking for a 6th grade parent. If you are a 6th grade parent, most likely you went to that reception when your child took the math test. It's really helpful for parents who just found out their kid are getting in and they really are slightly panicked, slightly excited, to have somebody up there. And so I know Sandra has offered, she's done it in the past, to help, but it'd be great because she's got an 8th grader. We really could use a 6th grade parent to step up. It's not a big deal. It's 2, 3?
2 Saturdays and a Thursday.
Yeah, it's,
afternoon.
and all you have to do is, organize a few receptions, see if you can get some kids to show up, and because it's helpful, it's interesting to have the kids answer the questions, and to have some parents there. It's not a big deal, but I'd really like if we could get a 6th grade parent to do that. It's not a huge obligation, but we would really appreciate the help.
And I think it's really important because it's the time when you really have an opportunity, pretty much, to meet almost every single parent. And for almost every single parent to hear about Keeling, and to get questions answered in a way that's different from, when you're going through some of the other events.
Right. Well, it's more real.
Right.
We're here now, for real.
Well, and with no, disrespect to administrators and all the official staff, as a, parent with the oldest child coming in 6th grade, I told everyone I knew, I'm like, that parent thing was the best thing that I did all year. It felt more prepared.
Great, so you'll volunteer to help?
I will help. I can't lead.
Okay. I'm just teasing you. All right, I think that's all of my committee reports. Am I missing anything? All right, we're gonna go straight to the treasurer's report, Ken?
Okay. Just to kind of dovetail in with the comments about fundraising from the committee, so we are including expected matching from companies that parents work for. And then about $1,300 of checks that I have in front of me now. We're about 25.3, somewhere around there, which is around 73% of our goal of 35,000. So I think we're really doing well, and we're on track to surpass what we collected last year. So and that's over 122 donations. So it's roughly about $175 per donation, which also exceeds what we've done historically. We had some pretty large ones come in from individuals, so that's kind of skewing the numbers a little bit. And I feel like compared to prior years, we focused on or made people more aware about the ability to donate through credit cards, through ACF, and we're at about 20% of our donations numerically. So of the 122, it's like 23, 24 of them have been through credit cards. I don't have the breakdown on the amounts versus the checks, but just so that you know that's where we are on that. And then also budget-wise, we're working with Mary on coming up with other areas that we can help her fund the things that she needs for the students. In the past, when we prepared our budget last year, when Beth was still with us, we had funded part of the think tank, which we were talking about earlier. Also, we had funded part of the planners as well. So some of those funds that we had budgeted to have available to spend on this year, we're going to be looking at other things that we can help the program in expenditures this year. So that's where we are right now.
Does anyone have any questions?
Amy does. I'm sorry. Have we bought anything? It's been a while since I think we've reported on things we bought for the magnet program. Is there anything?
There haven't been a lot of purchases well, there haven't really been any purchases of things like fixed assets and computers or things of that nature. There's been a lot of smaller supply items, and then also expense reimbursements for the professional development for the math teachers this year. So airfare tickets, things like that, which will be coming up. So
Since we have lots of especially 6th grade parents here, could you just give a few details on those?
Sure. So what we did 2 years ago, I think for the first time, is we actually sent a couple of representatives from one of the departments to a national, what would you call it, a conference, teachers conference. And it's actually been amazing because I was amazed and thought it was probably one of the places where our money was best spent. I mean, they came in after it was social studies the first year, language arts last year.
Foreign
language. And they came in and gave a presentation and just talked about the things that they learned and the contacts that they made and just the things that they were going to actually implement within their own curriculums and their own classrooms. And just the enthusiasm and what they got from that was great. We also sent Beth Cooper, who was our magnet director last year, to it was a national conference, which happened to be in Dallas, for magnet directors. So we're also trying to help with the professional development and keep them going so that they can bring that enthusiasm to things that they learn.
We're rotating a department a year, and
What's this year's department?
Math.
This year is
Math.
math, and
And they're going to National Council of Teachers of Math in New Orleans.
so, but we had set aside, I believe it's either $4,000 or $5,000 towards that. So we're seeing the expenses for airline tickets and hotels and things.
And again,
like
these
that
teachers
coming.
take their time to do this. And they looked for the cheapest fare. They found a fare that I was like, well,
Yeah.
maybe I'll go to New Orleans.
I'll go to
I mean,
New Orleans.
they share rooms if they're in the same gender. I mean, our teachers really are amazing. They really are. The things and the just what they go to
How many
is
get to
above
go?
and beyond.
4 will get to
Pay for 4.
I think that's about what we've sent it for. I think last year 5 might have gone. And last year, actually, I will say that the person who is over the World Languages Department at the district actually went to that conference as well and came to the presentation here when the World Languages teachers presented to us and thanked us for sending the teachers that normally teachers don't have that opportunity to go to those kinds of
Yes.
conferences. And I think it's really been something special that KMag has allowed departments to do, because the teachers here, because we're fortunate that we don't have to focus on STAR and tax and things like that, and TEEPS
cover all the teeth.
and we don't have to focus so much on that. All the local conferences and statewide conferences here really don't give them anything new to bring back here. So this is an opportunity. I mean, and it's a little thing, like over maybe 5 or 6 years we'll hit every department, but one department a year that gets to go and have that opportunity. I remember the social studies teachers, when they made their presentation, I think 2 or 3 of them made the comment they had never been to a national conference. And so it was very inspiring for them to do that and to be able to learn things that aren't just focused here in Texas. And I just think it's a really
awesome.
neat thing that KMag can help pay for.
And there's an immediate benefit to the kids.
Yes.
Yeah, it is immediate. I mean, really, my son saw something that they talked about had already been implemented in his classroom, because they, had been a couple weeks. So it's really pretty awesome. All right, does anyone have a question for the treasurer? Okay. All right. I don't have anything to report. Do you have anything to report, Amy? No. Okay, that hasn't already been hit on. Kristen, you want to go, and I apologize, we're running late. Kristen, you want to go through a PTA?
Sure. Lots going on. We've got on December 10th a parent education night on anxiety and depression, just in time for the holidays.
Who's doing it?
I'm not sure. Our parent education liaison is Beth Jewell, and she's a licensed social worker, and so I know she has a lot of contacts in the community. But she'll be putting out a flyer.
Leslie Smith will be presenting.
Okay. We're working to help support a parent education high school options night for students in our neighborhood program. I don't know if many people are aware that we are officially on the McAllen vertical team, but that really only applies to neighborhood students from Lee, Maplewood, and Campbell. If you're from Blackshear or Oak Springs, you're zoned to Eastside Memorial. So, and those students are not eligible for a track and transfer, unlike students in the magnet program who are. So that's hopefully a big night for the neighborhood program. We just approved, I think it was about $7,000 worth of grants to teachers, everything from social studies to orchestra to life skills to AVID. So kind of covering both magnet and neighborhood students. We are looking for volunteers to help with the Martin Luther King Day of Service in January. Last year we did a neighborhood cleanup. We're going to host a Peace for Pi event, which is sort of a community building diversity event, and we still need a programs chair. And then I'm going to let Susan report real quickly on Healing Center Stage.
So Keeling Center Stage is the largest fundraising event for Keeling PTA. We have, this is our 3rd year that we're hosting this event, and it will again be at Spider House Ballroom, and we'll have live music and auctions items. In the previous years, or last year, we fundraised over $20,000, and we were able to fund a music technology program that Principal Lowe talked about how it's up and running now, and the kids have been really having a good time with that program. It is for and we might even use the magnet students may get to use that as well at some point. But the Kingdom Center stage is now scheduled for April the 5th. It's a Saturday. It's an all adults evening. So mark your calendars, and we'll be looking for lots of volunteers as well.
I just wanted to mention real quickly, I think this is new at the Callan Fine Arts Academy. I was looking over their application information, and there's a cinematic arts, something like that, strand.
It's new.
And it's open only to kids currently in McAllen or from Lamar or from Keeling. So that's a new,
We're gonna
students
have
have to
some super
submit
small numbers, I
like
think,
a
this one.
5-minute movie or, anyway, it's a new strand that's available that people might want to know about. And also technical theater, I believe is new or relatively new, so.
Do it.
It was January 18th. You guys all get that? January 18th.
Mountain
I
Luther
think
King
it's
Day.
actual Martin Luther King Day or Monday.
Oh, I thought it was that Saturday.
Oh, maybe
Tuesday
it is.
that
I don't know.
Saturday?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Saturday morning.
Okay. Do we have any questions for the PTA? All right, Ms. Rainberg has
Two quick things that I forgot to mention. First of all, I don't know if you all heard that one of our teachers, actually a couple of our teachers, submitted grant proposals to the competition for the Google Nexus things, tablets. And there were 64 proposals submitted to the district. 4 people were awarded a grant. One of those people was Mr. Chua, who, and it was really cool to have all these people come and, you know, present him with the tablets.
Oh, fantastic.
But to me, the very best thing was after they left, Robin Lowe got on the intercom, and it was actually the next class period, and announced it. And I was upstairs on the 2nd floor, and the kids in his class just cheered him. It was really quite beautiful. And that was really, really cool. And his idea, you know, it's a little bit beyond me to be perfectly honest. But in short, what he was working from the idea of not just having kids be consumers, but rather producers. And I think it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with them. The other thing that I wanted you to know is that one of our Keeling staff family and one of our Keeling students lost a whole lot during the flood. And the student, I think, is doing fine. His family is not in their house. He is living with another family right now, and he's working through it, but he has a lot of consistency. The staff member, I don't know how many of you know Joe Garcia. Joe, you know, works with the Young Scientist Program, which is a UT program that our kids benefit from enormously, and they lost everything. And in fact, you know, the city, I think, is going to buy them out. You know, they lost, in addition to their home and belongings, a car. You know, had to be, went through a really traumatic experience. And you know, if you know her and want to do something, talk to Dee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mary. I didn't know that, so thank you. So we're going to adjourn again. It's a little bit late. If you have some time, we got one more question.
What's going on with the interviewing process for the director? Or I'm not allowed to ask.
I'll just say,
It's
done.
the
You know, the committee has selected someone. That person is, it's my understanding, has accepted, and nothing is public though, because the school board has to act on it. They're going to act on the 25th. And so, you know, after that, it'll be public. But here's what I say, everybody I've talked to is really, who was on the committee, is really excited. I think that this is going to be wonderful for the program, because everybody feels so good.
So did they find a clone of you?
I think they've found somebody with more energy and new ideas. It's going to be very exciting.
A clone would be missed. That would
We appreciate you so much, Mary.
Oh, it's been great to be here.
Well, and Mary's gonna be helping with the transition a lot, I mean,
Whatever I can do.
Yes.
But it's going to be this person's show, and that's very exciting.
It is. We're all very excited about that. If you have a moment, please, a little bit of time, please stay afterwards for this book club. Permissions. Even if you didn't read the- What?
Perfectionism.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Like, why do you keep saying
Hey, that's what I
don't
heard,
know.
not permissions, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but perfectionism, which does. So please stay after, even if you haven't read the book, and thank you all very much for coming.
You're not allowed to do that.
Oh, and